welcome to Pheasant Island. So good morning from Donostia, or San Sebastián, this little resort city overlooking the Bay of Biscay. But we won't be spending much time here because I'm actually heading about 20 kilometers east to the Franco-Spanish border. Now, the mission today is to find a very curious geopolitical anomaly. We'll be heading to the border because in the middle of the river that separates France from Spain is a place called Pheasant Island. This is one of the world's rarest cartographical curiosities. Pheasant Island is uninhabited. For half of the year, it's French. For the other half of the year, it's Spanish. So join me on my journey to discover the strange history of this nation-changing island. So we've just been staying in like the suburbs of Donostia or San Sebastián, and there's this really futuristic looking metro station, which is hopefully going to take us from here, from Spain, from the Basque country, across to France. So we'll be heading on the Euskotrans line E2 to a place called Hendaye. Now Hendaye sits in France. It's the first town across the border, but really it's still part of Basque country. It's one of the Basque provinces, but obviously divided by a river and divided by a man-made border. First hitch in the plan, we're on the wrong side of the station. Then we've got to go under and then go around. So you've got these traditional Basque houses next to this behemoth of a train station. Looks like it's from Star Wars. Now here we go, entrada. Vamonos à France.
Vamonos.
So we've got our passports in our pockets, but I don't think we're going to need them.
Good old Schengen.
Good old Schengen, yeah. There you go. This is La Frontera, the border town of Iran, which we're just passing through on the way to France. And this train is proper multilingual, which is when you know you're in a borderland. Signs in French, Spanish, Basque, and English. 4 languages on one train. Here we go. This is the border between France and Spain. So we'll be going from Iran on one side to Hendaye on the other.
This is France.
There we go. We made it to France. No passport checks, nothing. Simple border crossing. Easiest border crossing I've ever made. One of the easiest border crossings I've ever made. What do you say? Not vamonos, but allons-y.
Allons-y.
Let's see what we find on the other side of the border. Bonjour. Welcome to France. We're at the Gare de Hendaye, which is the main train station in Hendaye on the French side of the border. And from here you can catch a train to Paris, I think. But we're just on the main boulevard, and the boulevard is called Boulevard de General Charles de Gaulle. So, extremely French.
Où est la ville? Où est la ville?
The town.
On France? Yeah, I can't remember. I think is there a word for city in France? Is it just ville?
No say. Here we go. I don't even know what languages we're speaking. Well, we're speaking broken French and Spanish like we would anywhere else in France or Spain.
Hey, my Spanish.
No, your Spanish is good. Yo aprendo español con Duolingo. Yeah, so we may have crossed the border into France, but in reality, we haven't crossed the border of the Basque country, because all of these provinces on this side of the border of the river Bidasoa, which we crossed, are all still historically Basque. And we're now in one of the free French Basque provinces. Yeah, let's try and find the musée and escape game.
Musée.
The musée.
That was the most
And,
French. Let's find the musée.
we're going to find the musée
Musée.
and the musée and see if they can teach us a little bit about Hendaye. All right, so we found what looks like Centre de Ville, the town centre. And as you can see, outside the Hotel de Ville, looks like there is a Basque flag. This is La Cité des Mémoires, the City of Memories. And this should be the local museum, so we're going to go in and see what we can find out. A nice museum. Oh, this is the back room.
Hay una identidad fuerte aquí.
comment?
For Basque.
Oui,
Oui.
oui, oui. Nous avons hay la cultura vasca, hay una escuela ikastola donde también se aprende todo en vasco.
Ok,
¿Ya?
sí.
Y
Las escuelas son todo en vasco.
todas no,
Todas,
pero
ok.
hay algunas.
Ok.
Pero hay una que se llama la ikastola, que es ikastola, es la escuela vasca que hay en todas las ciudades aquí del País Vasco.
Sí,
Sí, también en España.
sí, sí.
¿Ya? Y entonces se hace todo lo que se aprende en vasco.
Sí,
¿Ya? Que
sí.
sean matemáticas, historia, etc.
Entiendo.
Ah.
Sí.
Y también hay esas escuelas francesas donde es ikashbi y se aprende en francés y también en vasco. Hacen en vasco matemáticas, historia y geográfica. Y también al nivel de la cultura hay una escuela de pelota vasca. También hay escuela para aprender los bailes vascos, el folclore.
¿Y las personas aquí hablan el idioma basque a la casa?
Algunos, pero no es la mayoría.
Ok, ok.
Además, aquí en Hendaye, como estamos a la frontera con España, entonces la gente habla también, hay muchos españoles
Sí, sí.
¿ya? Que viven aquí en Hendaye.
Sí.
Okay, so habla español,
Sí.
francés
Oui.
y basque.
Oui,
Okay, so
oui.
tres
Oui.
idiomas.
Oui. Bueno,
Impressive.
más francés, español, muchos. Basque, bueno, un poco menos.
Sí, por supuesto.
Okay.
Ouais.
Y cuando empecé a aprender basque en la escuela, por ejemplo, hace...
Desde pequeños.
Sí, sí.
Sí,
Pero...
desde que empiezan a la escuela a 4 años, pues a partir de 4 años
Sí.
ya aprenden el vasco.
Sí, pero hace 50 años las personas aprendían
Menos,
basque en la
menos,
escuela.
menos.
Ok, ok.
No era tan en las escuelas francesas, no se aprendía el vasco.
Ok.
Es-
¿Que la frontera está aquí?
La frontera,
Sí.
Because there's Basque on one side and Basque
Sí,
on the other.
porque hay basque en España y
oui,
basque en
oui,
la Francia.
nord et sud. Nord
Sí,
et sud,
sí.
norte y sur. Y porque es el río Bidasoa,
Sí.
que es frontera natural
Sí.
entre Francia y España. Pero así se determinó el territorio.
Sí, ok.
Some excellent translation skills from Claire's footsteps there. We're just in the back room of the museum because they brought us in to get some coffee. But that was Sylvie. She's works for the local museum and the tourism board. I think she's from here, and she was just explaining how there's a strong Basque culture over here on the other side of the border. Just as strong, I think she said, as it is over in Spain. Probably they learn Basque from a very young age. She speaks 3 languages: Basque, Spanish, French, and a little bit of English as well, by the sounds of it. So yeah, it's real frontier kind of feel to this place.
La isla...
De
Ahorita la palabra de
Pheasant.
Pheasant. Sí, similar. ¿Por qué es... porque cada 6 meses
Oui.
cambiar de Francia y de España? ¿Por qué?
Okay.
Porque es una isla que es una pequeña tierra, es muy pequeño.
Sí, sí.
Es muy pequeño. Entonces, como está en la Bidasoa, que está entre las dos partes, lo han hecho así cuando el Tratado de los Pirineos, ¿ya? Que iba siendo el fin de las guerras entre España y Francia, pues lo dijeron así, 6 meses a Francia y 6 meses a España.
Sí.
Y cada 6 meses, pues hay una celebración en la isla donde pasan la dirección.
Sí.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was made after the finish of the wars between France and Spain when they sort of officially, became peace. it was just kind of decided, and now it's just the tradition, and every 6 months is a celebration.
Oh, it's a celebration?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay. Like a fiesta or like a
Como una
handover.
fiesta?
Or...
No,
No.
no,
Ah,
es
okay,
muy
okay.
formal.
Ah,
ok,
sí, sí.
entiendo.
Yeah, yeah.
Et avec le préfet,
Oui, oui.
Yeah.
los del ayuntamiento.
Okay, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So
No,
like a...
no es fiesta.
Entiendo.
Very serious. Yeah, yeah.
Ouais,
Okay.
serious.
Like a...
Yeah, like a formal
Yeah.
handover
Oui,
ceremony. Yeah. Cool. And when is that in which months?
Julio y enero?
Que meses is
Me parece el mes de julio o agosto.
Julio,
cambiado.
agosto,
Okay.
July and August.
Eso se lo pueden encontrar en internet. No,
Sí, sí. Y en invierno también.
En
En invierno, forgot the word, winter. Olvidé la
Winters
palabra.
invierno.
Invierno.
In winter.
invierno,
Invierno.
d'hiver.
Enero?
Oh, hiver.
Ah,
Hiver.
oui.
Hiver.
Oui, donc chaque juillet, je crois que c'est juillet, août, et après, voilà.
Okay.
Okay. So because Hendaye and Iran are right on the frontier, la frontera has a big history of smuggling. You can see that before the European Union came about, this is what the border would have looked like. You would have had Guardia Civil, French police, customs barriers on the bridges. Little customs posts like this. This is a mock-up in the museum. Yeah, people would have tried to take stuff across illegally, of course. And here you go, a little quote from Albert Einstein. The frontiers, the borders are the creations of politicians. Okay, so this is what we're really here for. This is the Isle de Pheasants, or Pheasant Island. And this is the nation-changing island. We'll go and find it soon. But you can see every 6 months they have a handover ceremony on the island itself where it changes nationality from French to Spanish, or Spanish to French. And they have a rather formal looking ceremony which officially hands over sovereignty of the island to the other country. It's pretty unusual, to say the least. You can see some old maps of Pheasant Island here and here. The curious situation dates back to about the 17th century, I think. I'll explain a little bit more when we're actually there.
Vamos ahora aquí, por esta parte de Hendaye, y la isla de los Faisanes, pues está aquí.
Ahí, sí, sí.
Right, so we've got about a half-hour walk to the island itself. Now we've learned a little bit about the curious history of Pheasant Island. It's time to take a look at the island itself. Let's go and find it. Nous allons. Welcome to Pheasant Island, Isle de Pheasants. So this is the curious geopolitical anomaly we came here to the border to see. And it's just over here, maybe 20 meters across the river. So we got here, it's right next to a school. We're on the French side, and I saw this little skate park, and I thought this was like a viewing platform for the island itself, which is just over here. You can just see it on the water there. So the island's in the middle. It's about 200 meters long. This side that I'm stood on now is France, and on the other side is Spain. And you can see up there, this is kind of the foothills of the Pyrenees. So let me explain a little bit more about the strange history of Pheasant Island and how it came to be. So in 1659, the border between France and Spain, which runs for around 400 miles from the Bay of Biscay, from Hendaye and Iran, all the way across to the Mediterranean, to the end of the Pyrenees mountain range, was yet to be fully decided. After the end of seemingly long, endless wars between France and Spain, the two kings came together and decided that the Pyrenees and geographical features like the Bidasoa River here would form the natural frontier between France and Spain, forgetting about the Basque communities on either side, of course. Now, they decided that they would need a neutral space to sign the Treaty of the Pyrenees. So the kings of Spain and the king of France came to this island here, Pheasant Island, Island of Pheasants, And in 1659, they actually signed a peace treaty which not only ended the war, but then also defined the border between France and Spain, which still exists to this day. Now, after the peace treaty was signed, the island became a sort of symbol of neutrality almost, a symbol of peace between the two countries. Although that peace was broken, obviously, in later wars, like the Napoleonic Wars, for the large part, the island still kind of symbolises the peace of the Pyrenees. And I'm not sure if you can see, but right in the middle of the island is a sort of stone monument. And that is a monument to peace in the Pyrenees. Now, curiously, as part of the peace treaty, it was decided that this would not only be neutral territory, but that sovereignty would be shared between France and Spain. So Pheasant Island became one of the world's rare condominiums. A condominium under international law is effectively a piece of land, or in this case, an island, over which two or more countries share sovereignty. And every 6 months, France and Spain change ownership of the island. So right now, we're here in March, and there's a handover ceremony in February, and in February it changed from being French to being Spanish. So at the moment, this is Spanish territory. Now in August, there'll be another handover ceremony, and the sovereignty will change again. It will go from being Spanish back to being French. And that process is repeated every 6 months. And they've been doing that since 1659. Now, I think there used to be a lot more examples of condominiums in the world. For example, Sudan, when it was colonized by the British, was actually shared as a condominium between Egypt and the UK. But when Sudan gained independence, obviously that condominium status disappeared. But yeah, this is one of the last ones still standing. And yeah, as part of its sort of symbolism as an island of peace, as a neutral territory, a lot of curious things have happened here over the years. For example, when a Spanish member of the royal family would marry a French member of the royal family, they would always meet here. Some of the French royalty actually got married on this island, and other times they would meet here first before then heading off to be married in either Madrid or in Paris. So it sort of became a meeting place for France and Spain, really. And really, unfortunately, but it's not open to the public anymore. It's about 200 meters long, and apparently it's kind of eroding as well. So who knows how long it's actually going to be here for. But the only time you can actually get on the island is if you're part of that handover ceremony, which obviously we're not, which happens twice a year. And I guess they take a little boat out to the memorial in the middle, hand over the flags. They change the French flag for the Spanish flag, and then row back to dry land. And now every time it changes sovereignty, it changes sort of, so the ruler of Pheasant Island changes. So the Spanish admiral of Iran is the leader of Pheasant Island. And then when it changes to France, I think the maritime general of the Atlantic Pyrenean region, or some grandiose title, takes over sort of governorship or rulership of the island. So it's really very sort of medieval tradition that's still kind of going, bizarrely, despite all the regime changes in Spain and in France. This was part of the Ancien regime, a legacy of that, really. So it's a real quirky piece of history that's sat here in the river. So there you go, we're still on the French side, and you can get a good view of it from the cycle path alongside. And up there is the foothills of the Pyrenees, where the border continues over the rugged mountains all the way to the Mediterranean. So there we have it, guys. First mission of the day complete. We found the nation-changing island. But now we're going to head back into Spain. We're going to cross the border once more, and we're going to explore the Spanish border town of Irun. All right, let's go to Spain. Vamos a la España. All right, we're just strolling along the French side of the Bidasoa River and getting towards sort of the estuary where the river sort of empties into the Bay of Biscay. And there's a lot more islands over here as well, but apparently they're all Spanish islands for the entirety of the year. These other islands don't change nationality, so they're not quite as cool as Pheasant Island. Right, the border crossing, one of the bridges, is just up here. All right, so this is the main motorway bridge between France and Spain. And then beyond that, you've got the main train bridge as well, which carries all of the cross-border trains and freight, etc., between France and Spain. And this is pretty much where the Bidasoa River kind of seems to end and become the estuary. And then from here, it goes out into the Bay of Biscay and then into the Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, you can very much feel why this became the border. Despite the Basque communities obviously living on either side, for France and Spain, the nation states, it was very much a natural frontier. These look like very medieval bridges. All right, so just on the pedestrian bridge, heading over to Spain. So yeah, this is the border. This little post here is all that marks the entrance into Spain or the entrance into France. That's all you got. Right now, I've got one foot in Spain and the other foot in France. Absolutely love places like this. And interestingly, in the museum in Hendaye, I saw a picture of this bridge. This is one of the older bridges between Hendaye and Irun. And the picture in the museum showed it full of customs posts. There was barriers at either end. And so before the European Union, you would obviously have your passport checked, you would need your documents, you would need your import taxes paid and or whatever, depending on what you're bringing in. But now you just stroll across. Hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo
Estamos en
estás?
España.
Sí.
Estamos
Estamos
regresando.
en España. So here we go, Irun, La Frontera, the Spanish border town. So the history of Irun really dates back to the Roman era. The Romans came through here and there was some big mines up in the Pyrenees mountains, and this was a sort of safe harbour where they could transport whatever they took out of the ground, out of the mountains, back across the Roman Empire. Explained how this wasn't really part of Spain for a very long time. It wasn't until the 13th century that it became part of Castile, which then became the modern nation state of Spain when it sort of combined with other provinces and states and kingdoms in Spain. But for a long time it's very much had its own identity. Saying a large part of that is the Basque identity. But now I'm just in front of the cathedral, which came along a lot later. As this was a frontier, this was an area of huge conflict, so there's not much left of the old town. You can see I'm kind of standing in it, but there's a lot of redevelopment has happened. A lot of the old structures were destroyed during the endless wars of France and wars of England as well, I think. So this very much has a frontier history, a border history. But for a long time it's been firmly part of Spain, even if it still has a Basque culture and identity that's there under the surface. So right now I'm going to head to the Ayuntamiento, the town hall. I'll be meeting another local called Pia, who runs a company called Bidatour, and she'll be showing me around the town and maybe another trip to Pheasant Island.
For us, it's very curious because
Curious,
the
yeah.
magazine of shop are for the French people.
Oh, so all these shops are for people that come over the border?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Yeah. So they go and buy their
Liquor,
Ricard, yeah.
Tobacco,
Whiskey,
yeah.
yeah.
because
It's cheaper here?
for the French.
For the
people,
French?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they come over, do a booze run. And then
just liquor.
yes, all liquor shops.
So, liquor shop, tobacco, liquor shop,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fuel, gasoline. Also.
Oh, that's cheaper as well?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes. And things that, yes,
Yeah.
special.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so these are
Yeah.
all the liquor shops that the French come to.
Yeah,
to
turron. Do you know what's turron?
Ah, to run. Yeah.
We don't eat turron only in Christmas, but
But the French come over and buy it.
yeah,
The tobaccos and
it's very.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the Spanish side now, and there's just perfume shops, souvenir shops, shoe shops,
Paella.
paella, San Miguel.
That is not Basque. gastronomy.
There you go. Pia says paella is not Basque.
No,
Nope.
it's very good, but it's not Basque.
So this is the international border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lapurdi is the region of the other side.
Ah, okay, and that's the Basque region as well.
Yeah. Lapurdi and the city of the main city of the Lapurdi is Bayona.
Oh,
The
it's
capital.
Bayonne. Yeah, yeah.
Capital?
Yeah, capital. Yeah,
And this is the French police.
French police. So they still stop people sometimes. Yeah.
We are in the middle.
Yeah, so now we're in one foot in
No,
France and one in Spain.
Maybe. No, we're in France.
Now we're in France. In the middle, surely.
Middle of the river.
Yeah.
Now we are in France.
So the border comes down the middle of this river here. So, yeah.
Until the island.
Ah, and there's Pheasant Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The island now is Spanish. Yes.
So the island now
Until-
is Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until the 1st August.
1st of August. Oh, okay.
The 1st August.
Yeah. French. Yeah. Muga. Yeah.
Muga is border in Basque.
Oh, okay. So Muga means border in Basque.
Yeah.
This is the border bar. So the French side's the better viewing spot. Yeah.
It's more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the other side there is a lot of car and trucks.
Yeah. So we're just heading along the French side of the river. As Pia says, it's a lot more peaceful to see it from this side. So apparently there's 12 names for the island that we call Pheasant Island. The French call it Île de la Conférence. And there's different names in Basque and Spanish and French. And Pia here is going to explain in Espanol, and we'll put up some subtitles, exactly what Pheasant Island is about.
La isla de los Faisanes es el condominio más pequeño del mundo y es un condominio desde el Tratado de Bayona, desde 1859. 6 meses España y 6 meses Francia.
Could you explain a bit more about the history of it?
The history.
Yeah, why does it? Why is this really strange piece of geopolitical history here?
Es un territorio muy pequeño, pero es un símbolo de paz, de tratado, y por eso se comparte, ambas naciones quieren compartir su propiedad.
So do you speak Basque,
Yeah.
like as a first language,
Yes,
fluently?
it's my
Oh wow,
mother language.
yeah. So you learnt it as a child, or
Yes,
yeah?
I learned Spanish in the school.
Oh really? So
Yeah.
you learned Basque first,
Yes.
and then Spanish.
Yes.
And did lots of people in everyone speak Basque, or
Here,
yeah?
yes.
Okay. So you can have a conversation. You can walk into a shop and you could speak Basque.
Yes, I speak Basque at home.
Yeah.
With my child, with my parents.
Yeah.
It's our first language.
It's your language. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Cool. I've learned one word. No, 2 words. Kaisho
Kaixo?
and Escaragasco.
It's okay, it's fine.
It's a start.
Agur, that is bye-bye.
Ayu?
Agur,
Aro.
agur,
Aro.
agur,
Aro.
agur,
Goodbye.
goodbye.
So we're going to have a little bit of Basque language as well. So Pia here speaks Basque as a first language. So she's just going to give you an example of what this little known language is like.
Kaixo, Richard, zer
Kaixo.
moduz, eskerrik asko etortzagatik nere herrira, eta erakusteagatik konpantzia irla munduari. I say thank you for coming to my town and to show to the world my region and the Pheasant Island. That is, in Basque is konpantzia irla. Island of the treaty, I think.
Okay. It's the
Yes.
same as
Conference, yes.
Island of the Conferences. Cool. There you go. Escaragasco.
Eskerrik asko, zuri agur,
Aro.
agur.
That's goodbye in Basque. Strange.
This is strange.
Yeah,
It's very strange.
it's very strange.
Yeah.
So Pia was just saying that the island here, you can't actually technically access it. It's kind of illegal because it's owned by the military, or it's looked after by the Navy of either Spain or France. So you can't really visit it. But if you're just in a kayak like this guy here, you could probably just stop and have a look. But do the police, they never check passports or anything like that when you cross over?
To control the migration.
Right.
Because now the tide is high and that's it like this, but when it's low, it seems too easy to cross the...
Oh, so people try and swim
Yeah.
over, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. And
And some
illegally
of them-
come from Spain to France and they drown.
Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
more
wow.
or less are sub-Saharan.
Yeah, people from Morocco or Africa.
For the south or center
Yeah.
of Africa.
So they'll get to Spain, come across Spain, and then come into
Yeah,
France,
comes to France and France
and then
goes to Europe or
to Europe or to the
yeah,
UK.
so
Or
this is the
oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
last 10 years, maybe 4 or more person died in the Bidasoa.
Oh, really? 4 or more
Yeah.
people have drowned.
Yes, I don't have the number,
Yeah.
but yes,
Oh, wow.
in the last 10, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's very sad. But also a little bit sad. She was saying that because this is the border into France. In the past 10 years, quite a few migrants from sub-Saharan Africa or North Africa have actually drowned attempting to cross the Bidasoa where we were just standing. It seemed seemed very smooth and slow. But apparently a few people have drowned trying to get into France illegally, despite it being the Schengen zone, and then from here going to places like the UK or other parts of Europe, etc. So it's still very much a border and dangerous for some people. All right, so we've just crossed the border one more time. This is Pheasant Island again from the Spanish side now. Yeah, I can see it would be a lot busier here, wouldn't it, with the cars? Thank you very much, Escaragasco.
Amor,
This is
see you soon.
goodbye to Pia, and check out Bidatours if you're ever in a run. Cool, bye-bye. So there we go, local insight into a run. Now it's time to head back to San Sebastián for the night to find the Usco train. So there we have it. Survived the Franco-Spanish border. I'm back in Donostia, San Sebastián, where we started the day. What an interesting little trip to the border it was. Luckily we found Pheasant Island, the most curious geopolitical entity I've seen in France or Spain. So from here, it's goodbye from Basque Country. Esquerra Gasco, and thank you for watching.